Okay, we're live. Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Thank you so much for watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. Don't forget to also go find us on the Instagram and the Twitter. And of course, go check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. It's right here on the screen. How you doing, baby?
All right.
Okay.
Our website, Hollywood. Oops, sorry.
All right. I'm going to go share right now because it says to go share. So mine's going to make noise to you. That's okay. Share. Okay. Let's talk about some movies.
If we must.
We must increase our best.
Thank you, Punky Bruce.
Okay. All right, guys.
Actually,
I need to turn on Godzilla. Okay. All right. Godzilla's a regular participant on the show. Thank you, Godzilla. Okay. So we have a few movies to talk about today. Where do we want to start, babe?
Do not.
Here are your options.
Wherever you want to start is fine by me. I think we've actually, for once, seen all of them together.
We did. I'm going to just start here, and I'm going to go this way.
Okay, I don't know what here is, but
that's okay. I'm starting right here because this was an interesting movie. I didn't even know this was the name of it until I was looking it up to add it for the show. This movie is called Last Looks, and it stars Charlie Hunnam, who you're a fan of.
Big fan.
Morena,
from Sons of Anarchy fame.
Okay, Morena Baccarin, who's from everything.
I think it's Marina.
Whatever, Marina.
She was
I
on Firefly
apologize.
And Gotham and Deadpool.
I apologize. And then Mel Gibson, who most people probably are not fans of, but we are. So
I'm not a fan of him as a human, but I'm a fan of him as an actor.
His work is always really good.
Yeah.
So, I can separate the two.
The problem is sometimes, ever since his issues, a lot of the films he shows up in are usually like cameos or like very small parts or just kind of throwaway parts. And of course, he directed still stuff, and he's done a few that are still with it. But thankfully, this is not one of those. It's just a small cameo. It's a fairly big role.
Yeah,
and it's probably one of the funnest, most entertaining roles he's had in a while.
The most funnest
role he's had in a while.
I don't know, that Santa movie.
No, that movie was great, but I'm just saying fun-wise.
Yes, this is crazy too.
I think going kind of over the top performance instead of a very, because he always usually plays a gritty, very grumpy, crazy, whatever mentality character. In this one, he's very energetic, if you will.
Yeah,
he's still kind of a jerk and a pompous, but he's kind of, I guess he's English.
Yes,
and he's over the top, and he's kind of fun to watch, and he looks like he's having a blast playing the character.
Good.
So anyway, tell us what the movie's about.
Basically, it's like a murder mystery, but it's so quirky and bizarre.
It's like the old. This was not really a film noir, but it's like the old detective shows where detectives trying to solve a case.
Correct.
Charlie Hunnam's an old actual police captain, I believe it is,
turned detective.
Who they turned, and he had left the life and was living off the grid.
Turned forest man, or
become minimalist.
He's a wilderness man.
He's a minimalist, and he only has 100 things, and he lives out just in this trailer. He lives in a trailer. Woods. And doesn't want to be involved in crap, but he gets pulled into this case about who's an actor who's being accused of murdering his wife.
Correct.
Mel Gibson is said actor. He's on some.
And judge. They always say the husband did it.
Yeah, and he's on some show where he plays a judge.
Yeah,
and he's like an English guy, but he plays like a Southern judge.
So
he's got like the little Southern colonel mustache and goatee.
It's so fun. Anyway, so. This movie is crazy and all over the place a little bit, but in a good way.
Yeah.
So, because Charlie Hunnam's character has left everything, he's forced to work with this super rich, over-the-top actor, and so now he's used to sleeping in the woods, having nothing, not wasting anything.
He lives with a chicken.
And so now he's spending the night in this lavish place, and he's just like, okay, what do I do? And everybody keeps telling him, get a haircut, do whatever, because it's just not
him
anymore.
He rides a bicycle everywhere.
That is the funniest place. There are some car chases, and he's chasing in a bicycle.
Like an old 10-speed.
And I'm like, what?
He's on an old 10-speed.
This movie makes no sense in that regard. But the mystery itself is actually really cool, that as he's working the case and solving it. And because he was the old police chief or whatever, and people find out he's back.
Well, they don't like him because the police don't like him because I guess he ratted or he
yeah. Well, he was a straight.
He did what you're supposed to do.
He
as
was
a
good cop,
unless you're an officer and you turned your back on the Brotherhood or betrayed one of your own because he did the right thing because somebody committed a crime.
So the cops don't like him. Criminals that know about him find out he's back are after him. And then people, I guess, who are trying to keep him from solving this case are also after him. And then Marina, who brought him into the case, suddenly disappears. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, what is going on?
The movie very much reminded me of a great Mel Gibson movie called Payback.
Oh, such a good one.
He plays this guy. If you've never seen it, it's kind of a gritty movie, but the same guy. This guy who's an ex-con who had done a job with another guy, and he just wanted his cut of the money, which was like $700 and something, if I remember correctly. And he's not asking, like, trying to rob people because I want $735, whatever the number is. It's a very specific number. They're like, that's very specific. He goes, that's what I was owed in my cut. That's all I want. But every time he turns around, someone beats him up or punches him or throws him around because it's this whole entanglement of characters, and that's kind of what this movie is. It's just this time it's Charlie Hunnam getting punched and slapped around. And...
yeah. The funniest part is he chains up his bicycle at the police station, and someone comes and chains up their bicycle to his bicycle, not to the rack, and so he's pulling that bicycle. All the
my favorite line came out of this movie is there's a moment where him and Mel Gibson's always hitting people.
Yes.
And there's like this funny throwaway line where he gets mad after a take. And he starts yelling at some random intern looking at it. He just beats him and the guy getting a fight. He beats the guy up. And they're like, does this happen all the time? They're like, oh, we put a stuntman there all the time because we know he's going to fight somebody. Yeah. So they give a stuntman for him to fight. He just doesn't know it. And
so anyway,
there's a fight later in the movie where somebody hits Mel Gibson, knocks him down. Somebody stands up to him, hits him and knocks him down. And he's like, well disturbed, chap. Because he knocked him down. And I'm like, that's the way to take a punch.
This movie is just so much fun. And it's an actually good story. And it's a good mystery that we have to solve and unravel. And it's just got a lot of quirky characters, which makes it fun.
That's what this kind of movie works. As long as you have interesting characters and they all act against type. They're not like you get like some of these gangsters that show up. But there's very weird interaction. It's not your typical gangster just showing up to beat you up or cut you or whatever, trying to act tough, like they say stuff and then
because that one Mexican guy was like all suave and showed up all nice. He's always nicely dressed and everything, but he's like all like he's like, but I just wanted you to know whatever. And I'm like,
well, he's the gangster guy. He's the one that had the thug too. That was this big fighter guy.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, oh hey, and he's like. And then he's like just casually, and then he hits him, and it's like it's just funny. It's just...
And Charlie Hunnam gets hit so many times in this movie by everyone because nobody likes him.
That's why it reminded me so much of Payback because every time he turned around, Mel Gibson was getting beat up by somebody.
This is just a really fun movie. Where do I watch this?
It's coming out this week on Blu-ray and DVD. It's one of those that it did a theatritrical release, but it was a very limited run.
We missed it.
It was just one of those that kind of came under the radar. I've been waiting for this. I remember seeing. It come out. I was hoping to get a screening link for it. It didn't happen. I was hoping to get a little bit bigger thing, but of course with the pandemic stuff, I don't know if it would have got a fuller, bigger release. But it's got good cast in it. There's even some random characters in it that were like, there must be some cutting room floor stuff because like, Method Man's in this movie, but has no scenes. Like he's in the background.
Yeah,
he's on a TV scene, and then you see him talking to somebody in the background, and that's it. You never see him. And then Dominic Monaghan from Lord of the Rings and stuff plays this like one scene lawyer character. But yeah, it's just a fun murder mystery, crime comedy thriller, not comedy drama.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Kind of a dark comedy. It's fun though.
It's if you like detective type things, but with a little quirkiness and a little fun. It's not slapstick funny. It's just funny because of just the circumstances.
Yes. Correct.
So, and even though Charlie Hunnam gets beat up a lot, he's not a buffoon. He's just not he's a pacifist now.
Correct.
So he doesn't want to fight
he's
nobody.
All love and peace and save the planet. I think the funniest scenes though too were the little girl. She was actually really cute.
Yeah.
Because they say don't work with children.
Called him Mr. Lion.
But yes, because he was all scruffy and then he shaves his beard at one point. She's like, ah! She's like, no.
I love too like how the attention to detail on the 100 things, like he talks about, he has only 100 things, and he's like, my trailer is one thing, this chicken's one thing, like I have one shirt, I have one pair of pants, I have this. And so later when he finally comes to the city, they give him the business card. He goes, I can't take this because then I would have 101 things, and I only keep 100 things, and it's like that little detail
so
matters
bizarre.
because of what he's doing as a person.
And the guy's like, "Don't take it; it's a gift," and he sticks it in his hat, and then later on, you see he gives it back, and the guy puts it back in his jacket. I mean, it's like, just so bizarre.
But that's an attention to detail for something that is the persona of the character that's important, because he very firmly believes in his 100 things.
Yeah,
you know.
But
and
could we survive with 100 things?
I have more than 100 things in this room.
Like, if you could see the amount of movies, like, I mean, just one shelf has. I mean,
if I could have 100 things of each item that I like to collect,
100 pairs of shoes, 100 dresses.
The amount of money I spent on lightsabers, there's going to be 20 lightsabers at least going into my 100 things.
Wow, it's insane.
So anyway, but yeah, I actually really enjoyed this movie.
It's really
the official
fun.
review will go up later tonight, hopefully, or tomorrow. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
And I like at the beginning, there's a little commentary about how we're killing the planet and how he's trying to save it by living this minimalist lifestyle and composting and recycling and all that we're supposed to be doing and we don't do. So bad on us humans.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's it.
Next.
So Last Looks. It'll be available this Tuesday on Blu-ray and DVD from Lionsgate, I believe.
All right. We're going here.
Maybe it's not Lionsgate. I don't know who's putting it out. I forget.
To another bit of a mystery that needs to be unraveled. This movie is All the Old Knives. It's available now on Prime Video.
And this is one that I was not overly interested in. They've been sending me information about it and trailers, and I finally was like, you know what, I like Thandwi or Thandwi. I don't know what we're pronouncing it. She changed her name back to her original name.
Yes, this is her original.
Thandwi. Oh,
Thandwi.
We used to know her. We had a discussion about this.
It's Thandie.
Thandie Newton. It's not Thandie. It's Thandie.
Thandie
Newton. Thandie, who we've both been a fan of for quite a while.
It still comes
and
up.
And then I kept getting a spell check and looking at it.
Thandie.
Yeah, now it's spelled Thandiwe.
Because she's Zimbabwe.
And I'm like, people are spelling her name wrong in this press release. And it's going on one. So then we were talking about it, and you're like, you made a mention of it being different too. And you're like, I thought it was this. And I'm like, no, it's been spelled like this. So I looked it up, and like in 20, what did I tell you?
It was just recently.
It was in the last
couple of years.
Last few years, she actually went back to her original spelling of her name. And so that's what it is. So
Thandie.
Doesn't really matter. That's totally separate, but it's her.
Zimbabwe.
And Chris Pine and Jonathan Pryce and Lawrence Fishburne.
Thandie. I just found it. It means beloved.
Well, I knew that part, but
in Zimbabwe. Okay.
Anyway, Thandie. But Lawrence Fishburne and Jonathan Pryce and her and Chris Pine.
Okay, so I also had no idea or recollection of this movie anywhere, but you told me she was in it, so I was like, I'm in. Because I do enjoy her. I think she's great and everything. And I feel like we just talked about Chris Pine last week.
Because he was in the movie called The Contractor.
Which, where has he been that he's suddenly just turning these things out? But
I think the last big thing we saw him in was Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
And then
now we see a mature Chris Pine with some gray hair all over. Yes. Okay. So this is also kind of like a mystery movie that we're unraveling. Basically the premise is they're all kind of agents like FBI or something. And back in the day, there was a plane hijacking and we think the case is all solved and done with. And suddenly something has come up that's making them relook at the case and investigate and talk to everyone that was there to verify their stories. So obviously something is afoot.
Yes.
And then
and this is one that, like I said, I didn't know if I really cared about watching this movie. I was like, ugh. And oh, by the way, I'm sorry I got sidetracked because I was going to tell you the first movie I ever saw her in, which is a movie called Gridlocked. Okay. And it stars Tim Roth and Tupac.
Oh.
And it was about a bunch of people on drugs. It's a great movie, but it's a depressing movie, but it's a very great movie. Anyway, totally not related, but as I was looking at her picture, I'm like,
the
first time I saw her was in a Tupac movie, so I had to look it up. Anyway, but yeah, this is one of those ones I was like, okay, it's a thriller, it's a political thriller kind of thing.
Espionage.
And I'm always on the fence with these because they can either be really good or really dull.
Mm-hmm.
And they can either be full-on action flicks or they're more of a thriller mystery kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And then there's ones that walk in the middle.
Yeah.
That you really don't know what they're going to be at. And it kind of comes down to how it's crafted and the performances. Mm-hmm. This is that film.
Yeah.
It's the bulk of the film is just them having dinner, which sounds super boring, but that is the most compelling parts of this entire movie. Is their dialogue.
Because just even them preparing to go to the dinner, you can tell like he's nervous, she's nervous. Like there was something with them.
Yeah,
like before they even get there. Okay, we're about to open up some old wounds, and they get there and they're having this dinner. It's a beautiful place. The scene's set nicely.
Did we say what he was doing, or did you say?
He's investigating.
Yeah, they think there's a mole in a case they worked on
that
was years ago
to that hijacking thing that's leading to something present.
Yeah, so they think there was a mole they thought there was a mole in relation to that case, which is why some of the stuff didn't work.
And then recent must have happened to reopen the case. I don't know.
Anyway,
we're investigating.
I think they just discovered it and decided to put in place. So he's the one investigating. So he's interviewing her and a couple of other people in relation to the case, but it's all past.
But it's all during this dinner. They're talking. She's like, well, why did you do this to what's her name? So then we flash back to him talking to that guy, because she's like, well, why did you put so much pressure on whoever this is? So then you go to that meeting and it starts. So
and
as they talk,
because
you start getting all the
story part, which is the hijacking and all this stuff, are actually kind of generic.
Yeah.
They're well done, but they're not the thrilling part of the show. It's their dialogue at the table is compelling to watch. It starts off kind of slow. It starts off kind of monotonous, but within just a few minutes of them sitting down to meet up with dinner, because there's a little build up before we get to that point, but once they sit down and meet for dinner, you immediately not only know what you were saying about something between them, something's not right in this restaurant. And then it kind of starts as things unfold, and most of it's not what you think. Like you think you solve it, and it's got like 2 or 3 different twists. You know, like every time, like I remember when she watched it after I did, and I remember I talking to her on the phone, she goes, "Oh my gosh, blah blah blah," and then you're like, "And I still have 20 more minutes." I'm like, "It ain't finished yet."
I was like, "What? There's more?" So you're in the restaurant, and it's interesting because there's only like one other couple there, and it's the old couple, and then he starts coughing and stuff, and I'm like, "Okay, this is like too big of a." Like there's too much commotion there for it not to just be casual and normal. You know, it's awkward. And then there's some other guy sitting there looking at him like, oh my gosh, is this guy there to get them? And then it ends up being something else. And then the waitress starts acting weird. And then this person starts acting weird. Yeah, because there's a weird
thing with the waitress where she's there and then they suddenly change waiters.
Yeah, and they're like, she wasn't feeling well. And I'm like, oh. Something just happened to her.
Yeah, and you don't know if it's something happened to her. You don't know if she did something and she was in on something. Or
are we starting to be suspicious?
Just a shift change.
Or are we starting to be suspicious because they're being suspicious to each other during this dinner?
It's crafted in a way that makes you question everything that's going on. And some of it, there is nothing going on.
Correct. And you can tell they were in a relationship before, and that starts to unravel itself.
It's got a pretty hot and heavy sex scene in it, too.
Yeah. Well, and then at some point,
you see Chris Pine's butt.
Yeah. At some point you start to wonder, well, why are they not still together? And then he's like, well, why did you just leave? And she's like, well, why did you do this? And I'm like, oh, so it is true. And so then, but that is also part of the thing they were investigating, the hijacking. It's all connected. And then you get to the end of it and he does something and she does something. And you're like, what?
And it keeps layering.
And then that's not it, because then all these other people that you haven't seen for the last 30 minutes, suddenly they're on their phone. They're like, okay, this is happening. Well, I'm like, what is that? Oh my gosh.
It's a dialogue driven movie. Yes. It's 2 really great performances. They have great chemistry. Once again, Chris Pine is knocking out of the park like he did with The Contract. This was even better.
This was better
as far as his performance. She's great in it, but they are good banter off of each other, and the crafting of the story is keeps you interested as it builds. Initially, and at least with my case, and I'm sure it might have been with you because you were working at the same time, as it starts, you're just kind of like, oh, that's going to be one of those.
It's a talkie.
It seems like it's drag, and it starts, and then you start hearing certain things. You're like,
yes, I had to stop and ponder.
And then when you start realizing, oh, that's what happened. Okay, and then you kind of get relaxed.
Yeah.
And then they throw another curveball, and you're like, wait, what?
Well, and then
that makes sense. So then you start relaxing again, and then there's another twist.
That's what I'm saying. Like I thought we were done. I was like, oh, well, see, and then throughout, I'm like suspecting. I'm like, okay, it was this person. They must have been the inside person. I'm like, okay, that's who it is. So then I stopped, again, I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Then something else happened. I'm like, whoa, what?
Relaxing you. And what's very interesting is almost every one of your theories that you'll likely have are right.
Yes.
Just in maybe not the way you expected.
It was all layered together. The interesting thing to me too was the hijacking part. Like you said, it's kind of generic, but throughout the investigation of it, just the things that the FBI clue into is really interesting. And so then that makes you realize, okay, they're all kind of thinking something about the other person, but they're keeping it hidden. And so then slowly it starts to unravel. And as the evening goes on and the wine starts to flow, it kind of unravels more and more.
Right.
And you see them both start to kind of relax, but not really. And I think it's the same journey we're going on. We're like kind of relaxed, but not really.
Right.
Because we think maybe yes, but maybe no. Oh my gosh, this movie. I did not expect to enjoy it, and I really did. But it is a slow build. It is a talker, but there is action throughout, which I liked. So there you go. All the old knives. Prime Video.
It is available now on Prime Video and select theaters if you don't have Amazon Prime.
Nice. Okay, next.
Okay, we'll go there. Whew. Michael Bay is back.
Friends, you know
doing what Michael Bay does, blow
explosions, cars.
I know Michael Bay gets a lot of grief for his Transformers movies and his Ninja Turtle movies. I know he produced the Ninja Turtles, directed it, and even he said maybe I directed too many Transformer movies. I love the Transformer movies. They're not always great movies. They're not the Transformer movies I had hoped, and I know a lot of hardcore Transformers fans don't like them, but I like them for what they are. But I like Michael Bay stuff. I like his Bad Boys movie. I like The Rock.
Bad Boys.
I like, not The Rock, but The Rock is ironically in Pain and Gain that Michael Bay directed. I like that movie. But Ambulance, his latest one that we're talking about, is old school Michael Bay. It's going back to the hardcore gritty. This whole movie could take place in the same universe as Bad Boys, from the way it visual style.
Correct.
The characters, the way it's shot. But it's starring Jake Gyllenhaal or Gyllenhaal.
Oh my gosh, who says that?
Do what?
Who says that?
I did. Didn't you just hear me?
Okay.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Was it Isa Gonzalez? Mm-hmm. And Yahya Abdul Mateen II.
Yes.
Who is, you may know him. He was Black Manta and Aquaman. He was recently in the new Candyman movie. Mm-hmm. So he's been racking up some credits.
That's where I've seen him. Candyman. Yeah.
And she's from Fast and the Furious.
Correct.
And then Jake Gyllenhaal is Jake Gyllenhaal.
Y'all, this Jake Gyllenhaal kid is really good, by the way. He is good and over the top in this movie, and I loved it.
He's one of those guys that's like just such a great actor, but putting him, so when you take really good actors and then you put them in these batshit crazy movies, it just makes it better.
There's just one part. Oh, so we have to basically tell you what it's about. Sorry, you see
it's
in
about
the trailer.
An ambulance.
You see in the trailer, it's about these guys who decide to rob a bank because they need the money because somebody's family member is ill and needs surgery, and the insurance company won't cover it. Let's just go with that.
There's like two elements thrown together. But yeah, that's the gist.
There's a whole other thing.
She's a paramedic in the
somebody
ambulance.
Just wants to rob a bank. And somehow
this movie is basically Speed in an ambulance.
So throughout the chase, they end up in an ambulance as their getaway car. That's all you need to know.
So once it gets to the ambulance portion, the rest of the movie is one long, continuous, intense car chase.
Correct. And it's awesome.
It is. This movie is awesome. It is just balls to the wall, shooting, explosions, car chases, fighting. There's a deeper story there than you might think. That's not even really necessary to make this film work, but it helps kind of make you care about the characters a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But it's just old school action that you just shut your brain off and just let's do this. Let's watch some crap just get destroyed.
But, I mean, there is story, like you said. I mean, it's about family. It's about loss. It's about love. It's about trauma, childhood trauma. I think it's also, there's some military trauma here, some PTSD. I think there's also this whole thing with the insurance companies. And when you have a surgery that could save your life, but insurance won't cover it, what do you do? Like, people are just dying.
There's also an interesting thing on the paramedic side dealing with the connection and depth of what you deal with on a day-to-day basis and how what's important and what isn't. And because and it's not really a spoiler, but her character is one of those that she does her job, she does it well.
You keep them alive, you drop them off,
and then she moves on to the next case. She goes there's this crazy thing that they do at the beginning where they're helping somebody, she drops them off, and then she's like, let's go get lunch. Then the new guy's like, how can you eat after what we just
Yeah, the
dealt
new
with?
guy wants to just go throw up.
And she's like, I don't care. This is.
And he's like, well, don't you want to call and see how they're doing? She's like, no, you keep them alive, you drop them off, you move on.
Which actually plays into part of the story later.
Correct.
That I think actually makes her a better paramedic / human.
Yeah.
To deal with it, but that also understand with her and her mentality, because
I understand that too.
The only way you can keep her going crazy.
Yeah, because I mean, then if you're tracking like how many people did you actually save or how many people died, I mean, that would be like such a heavy weight. But there are people that do that because like in our show, the 911 show, the one chief keeps a book of every person that's died.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's starting to wear on me. I'm on the cusp of bailing on that show.
I know the accident of the week.
I like the accidents of the week, but now we're getting too much into the people. I want to see them.
Everything. There's always an accident in their personal life too. That's where it becomes too much.
Yeah, that's where I hate. Like, I have personally never met a firefighter that everywhere they go something happens.
If they did, it's like, I don't want to be friends with you. Do not come over.
It's like this is Jack Bauer's daughter all over again from 24. Every week somebody kidnapped her or something happened to her. I'm like, just don't be related to Jack Bauer. You'll be fine.
Anyway,
okay. Jack Bauer is. He's an American hero.
He is. He should be president.
But
wait, he was president.
That's right. And it's interesting. A movie like this really probably shouldn't work because it is the speed mentality of they have to stay on one thing for the longest time. In this case, it's not just a high speed chase. There's some where they slow down. You think, why don't they take him out? Whatever. Well, there's something in the ambulance that it makes sense of why they can't just destroy him, the ambulance, knock him off the road. Outside of the paramedic lady, which I'm not going to say in case you haven't seen the trailer. It's not that big a deal, but I don't want to fully spoil it.
I like to.
But there's tons of shootouts.
Who's the other guy? The can we say who the other guy? The chief guy?
Oh, the one with the dog?
Yeah.
I forgot his name, but he's awesome. He's in he was in that show I loved.
Obviously not.
Oh my God.
Because I asked you, Ambulance Jake Gyllenhaal.
He had that spinoff from Bones or whatever it was too.
This guy.
Only got one.
Garrett Dillahunt.
Yeah. What was that show he got? Remember, he was like that.
You remember?
He was that cleaner guy that got a spinoff and only ended up doing one season. Scroll back up. There's a show like Raising Hope. That was a show that I like.
Okay.
Anyway, he was the dad in Raising Hope. He's usually a funny guy, but he also has done some action stuff. And
he's been in Walking Dead. Anyhow, I know him from indie projects. What he has done a lot of times too. Anywho, he is so fun in this movie. Oh, he was in Justified. That's why. He is country. He was in Burn Notice. Yeah.
Oh no, he's done everything.
He's done everything. Anywho, he's so good in this. So I like in this movie we do get to explore some of the tactics of the police department or FBI or whoever and the drones and how they're tracking people. And he is so fun in this movie because he's like, we got to wrap it up before rush hour. And I'm like, that's a real thing to think about in LA.
Because then he's like, a lot more people are going to die if we have to do this during rush hour on the highway. And
let
me tell you, this movie is also clearly Michael Bay bought a drone.
I was going to tell you, some of those
shots were badass.
There's this cool camera thing where they're going under these bridges, and so the camera goes like this, and suddenly it's like, with a car.
You can tell they did a lot of drone filming.
And I'm like, man, how do you get such a great camera on a drone? And who's driving the drone? And
I don't know if he's doing it, but
who?
But yeah,
because somebody's got to be very skilled.
There's ones where they're flying underneath a car. They're going at an angle.
It's amazing, but these cars are going so fast.
Yeah.
How do you make sure your drone
But there's some cool
crash?
shots where it goes around and then it aerial.
That's what I'm saying. It goes like this, and
it's very Michael Bay, but it's very cool visually. It makes it for some really cool stuff. Like it could have easily. I heard somebody else talking about it. It's like this movie should be called Michael Bay Gets a Drone, which I agree, but it created a visual style that kind of made the city part of the movie.
Yeah,
because it's not just the drone following the thing. It's like there's secondary shots of going over a movie, over a building, around a building,
Yeah, because, I mean, obviously they deploy helicopters to track the cars, but you can tell some of the shots are not helicopter shots, but drone shots because it's so
it's the way it lives, way it moves.
Going up and down and over, and we go to the bridge from Greece. But now, I'm thinking...
bridge from Greece?
Yeah, when we're in the bridge and the water splashing. I mean, there's just some really cool shots, and I was just like, man, this is so cool. How do they do that? Obviously, it was a drone, but
it's like
it's
Michael Bay got a
amazing.
drone for Christmas. That's what I decided.
Yeah. Well, and I'm wondering too. Now, do police use drones for these kind of things, like car chasey things?
Well, they've been using them for a while now in a lot of films. Okay. This is the first one that I've.
Well, no, I'm thinking in real life car chases.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Because there's no way that they were keeping track of this ambulance, though, just from helicopters, because there's so many bridges and things. But maybe the cameras.
But I like, too, that how they were losing track. Like, it would go into certain places. Like, we know it's in this area, but we can't see it anymore, so they'd have to go find it. And
yeah.
So it had some interesting uses to kind of let the action calm for a second, let the audience have a breath before we go into the next craziness. Because while that ambulance is driving, craziness is constantly
happening. Thing's crazy. All these people are amazing. Yeah. Every single person in this movie is amazing.
I don't know about amazing, but it was a great cast.
Like, I like him. I like him. I like him. He was I'm so happy he was in this movie.
You act like he's never done anything else.
I know, but I like him from my TV show.
You just see him in one show. Look at him. I bet he's been in a bunch of crap.
I'm sure he has. Mel Gibson.
You probably seen him in other crap too, and you didn't even know it.
I know.
Look, he's been in the Doom Patrol. He's on the Rookie.
I didn't watch that. Oh, he's been on Rookie? I must have missed it. And Ambulance. Okay.
The guy's been working, so stop acting like that.
Okay, well, I hadn't seen it.
He was on General Hospital for crying out loud.
He was on Sons of Anarchy.
This is pure Michael Bay at his best.
It's just awesome.
Just what's deal weird, with it. Though, is this kind of bums me out, but I know Michael Bay won't give a crap because he doesn't read reviews. Good reviews, bad reviews. He said in an interview that he goes, I don't read reviews. I don't make movies for reviewers. I make movies for audiences. And people want to enjoy them. They want to see them. Mm-hmm. That's what I make it for. But
what's wrong?
Hold on. Nothing. Somebody's stupid. I got to yell at him.
Okay, great.
But this has been probably his best reviewed movie in a long time. And it made next to nothing.
Oh,
it was very low, but like, for some reason it just didn't connect.
Everybody go watch it. It's such a good movie.
I don't know if this is one that I thought dudes would be out to watch and want to see explosions and fighting and shooting and
it's emotional and heartfelt as well.
It is, but I'm just saying this trailer screams masculinity.
Action.
This is a hardcore old school gritty action flick with a little bit of everything. It doesn't have a lot of fight scenes, but it's all shooting but there's a lot of them. A lot of blowing up stuff, and I really dug this movie. And you need to see this movie on the big screen because it needs to be loud. It needs to be obnoxious.
I enjoyed it. It was emotional as well.
It has that, but
it's good. You need to watch it. Go watch it.
Good job, Michael Bay.
Go watch it.
And Jake Gyllenhaal said in an interview that he's dreamed of being in a Michael Bay movie.
There you go.
So he was super excited to be in this movie, and he's great in this movie.
He's really good.
So moving, it's in theaters now. Ambulance.
Okay.
Ambulance.
Okay, next.
All right. So our last film was the #1 movie in the country, which was a sequel, and ironically enough, it was one of, if not the last movie we saw before the pandemic hit in 2020. Mm-hmm. It hit the theaters in March of 2020. It did well, but I don't remember if it was this one or Bloodshot was the last one. One of those two.
One of those two, maybe Bloodshot.
But this one was one of the last big theatrical releases that did a lot of money, and then it probably would have done a lot more. Excuse me, but we're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog 2. A movie that when the first one came out, I'm like, this is stupid. There's no reason to watch this movie. It's not going to work. No way it should work. Then there was controversy because his face didn't look right when the trailer came out, and they went back and fixed it. So I don't remember if I saw it before you and then we saw it again, or did we see it together at a screening?
The first time?
Yeah.
I think you saw it first.
Okay, so it's basically the same.
Same thing.
Anyway, so I remember us seeing this movie and then going, holy crap, this is a fun-ass movie.
It is so fun. I love that first movie.
Not only is it silly and you got to buy into it, but Jim Carrey is old school Jim Carrey. This is Ace Ventura, Cable Guy, Dumb and Dumber Jim Carrey.
I love it.
He's so good. And he looks to be having a blast with the character.
So
fun. You really like the first one as well, right?
I really like the first one. I know nothing about Sonic. I've never played the game. I don't sing. I don't do any of that. But
I played the original game. I owned it when it came out. The very first one.
This is just
I had the Sega CD,
the coolest thing.
Which was the cool thing. I had the game Sewer Shark, which was badass. But then I played the original original Sonic with a friend at a friend's house.
We'll have to go buy it. Should we go buy this now?
I don't care about that anymore.
Sega.
But since then, there's been a cartoon series, and there's been various games everybody knows. So there's a whole slew of different characters.
I know nothing about these characters.
Eggman, a.k.a. Robotnik.
That's going to tell you, all these people at the theater are so excited about this.
Well, I told you, like, when I saw the screening.
When these little characters show up.
Yeah, they're like, I had a great audience at my screening because things happen in the movie, not just the character showing up. There's a moment at the end of the movie that happens.
Yep.
Not that there's an after credit scene too, but before that, there's a big payoff moment at the end of the final battle, whatever you want to call it. And the people were cheering in my screening that I went to.
They know.
And then when the end credit sequence came out, there was a grown man sitting in front of me going, "Are you kidding me?" And then when we saw it again, because you hadn't seen it, the kids next to us were cheering. And
this movie's making people happy, y'all.
And can I just tell you that
it made me happy.
I like this one better than the first one.
Really? I mean, I like the first one. I think together they go really well together. I like that in both of them there's some good heart and emotion and family moments. You know, I think that's there. Yeah. And the need to belong to a family, and what does that mean? I think that's there. We all know family's not the people you're necessarily born to. Right. It's who you make your family.
Well, it's the connection between him and James Marsden work. Like it's fun watching them interact and talk, and that's where the heart of that movie, the movies is.
Yeah, very much is
their relationship, and it's kind of a friendship, but also a parental thing, and it helps Sonic grow. So what I liked about this new one is it kind of moved the relationship along. It's more of the same stuff, but they definitely went bigger, obviously.
Yep.
But it's more building, like we have a relationship, so we didn't just repeat the same. Correct. Okay, he's going to get in trouble again, and now he's got to do this stuff. They've now established a life together, the way they all live, and they're kind of evolving. So now they're trying to trust him. He's happy in life and getting to live, and everything's going great. And they take the after credit stuff from the first movie, and that's basically evolved the Robotnik storyline to bring him back, which now has expanded the Sonic universe. Which they already greenlit Sonic 3 before the weekend was out, and they had already announced they were creating a Sonic universe. So it makes more sense to everything they're doing. And I don't know what that means about a Sonic universe. If that just means just making Sonic movies, or they're talking about making spin-off things, or what they're doing. We don't know that part yet.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, this movie was so good, y'all.
I was worried about, like, the whole Sonic visuals and stuff is ridiculous. I get that. But it's fun to watch, because once you buy into it, it's a blast. I was concerned by bringing in Knuckles and Tails, it was going to get to be too much. And then it was going to just like, okay, one you can kind of get away with, but it's like, okay, now you filled the room with all these goofy characters, and the real people, is it going to work? And it did. You actually care about these people.
I do. I thought it was great. And I like that, you know, he's still exploring like his self-identity as the only little magic hedgehog on our planet. Like,
his only little magic hedgehog.
He is. He's a magic little, and it's so funny. They're like, "Ew, what are you?" He's like, "I'm a hedgehog. Hello." You know, like it's obvious. Like I don't think hedgehogs are blue, but whatever.
No, and hedgehogs don't really look like that.
Not either, but whatever. I don't know. And I like that we continued the story from last time of the sister with Rachel. Oh, yeah. Oh Lord.
It's funny because when Shamar Moore shows up, he's her fiance in the movie. And you see in the trailer of them getting married. And you're like, he shows up, and I remember you lean over, who's that we're talking about? And then you realize that's the relationship. She's like, how did she get him?
I know, right? He's the guy from SWAT, which you did say. Anyways, yeah, it's so funny. Does it? Why?
Because it's like this, but then it's a perfectly straight line like this. So it makes like a square on his face.
Well, that's just how his face works.
That's just his style. It just annoys me.
Well, okay then.
That's fine. It's my opinion.
Anyhow, okay. Everybody's awesome in this movie. You need to go see it. That's all I can tell you. I don't want to tell you anything.
The other thing I like too about outside of
and Jim Carrey does my favorite thing.
Yes, Jim Carrey gets to shine again in this movie. Like he's very big in this movie. Like in the first movie, he's in a ton of it, but this one he got to really go off and crazy. And yes, it can be borderline annoying sometimes. I love all things Jim Carrey. I always have. I've been a fan of his since In Living Color days. His stand up.
Some of it is too much. Like Cable Guy to me is too much.
Oh, Cable Guy is one of my favorites.
And Dumb and Dumber, like the first time's okay, but after a few times it gets to be too much.
Cable Guy is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, it's too much for me.
But it's also a movie that was ironically did not connect with people when it came out because it was too dark.
It was too dark.
Because he came off of being Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber, and then did Cable Guy, which Cable Guy was actually written for Chris Farley. Chris Farley died.
Correct.
And I don't know if you remember this or not, but Ben Stiller directed Cable Guy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And with him being way over the top and Matthew Broderick being a very straight man, I just love that movie. I've loved it since the day I saw it. I was like in the minority, but now it's found an audience to the point where even during the Super Bowl, he reprised the Cable Guy role in that commercial, which Ben Stiller didn't know anything about them doing that commercial. But
yeah, see, I'm like Ace Ventura is cool. Cable Guy's like,
I think Ace Ventura is way over the top of Cable Guy.
The first one's okay.
No, I love Ace Ventura, but those movies, he is way more over the top. I think
Dumb and Dumber gets me because it's him and Jeff Daniels, and like it's way too much.
It's just ridiculous.
And then suddenly Jeff Daniels is like high corporate in the other thing, and I'm like,
well, that's all of it.
Whatever.
Like,
I mean, that's okay.
Liar is brilliant.
But he's so good in this.
Bruce Almighty is brilliant.
He's so fun in this.
And if I'm not mistaken, this movie is Jim Carrey's highest opening movie. I think Liar was his biggest opening he ever had. And this is, I think, opened higher because this one opened actually way bigger than they thought it was going to.
Yeah. The theater was full.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's got
and everybody was really liking
the effects are really well done.
You want effects.
There's tons of nods to the video game, so they're giving the fans stuff to watch if you're a hardcore fan, especially the after credit sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
fun. Just fun. It's good. You don't have to know anything about it. I mean, you do
need to watch the first movie. Don't watch
the first one. Yeah, don't be that person, please. Don't go watch part 2 without seeing part 1.
See the first one.
It directly connects. It picks up exactly where we left off.
If you watch the first one, you have to watch all the after credit stuff because the opening scene of this movie is directly carrying from the end credit scene, like literally. So
literally
you need to watch
it. Yeah.
It's got some great action, some fun, some laughs, some heart. A little bit of everything, and it's just well done.
Got me in the feels.
And I want to give props to the people promoting it too, because they put out one poster, not the main poster as everybody, but there's this one poster they put out. Excuse me, that's got like a big number 2 on it and Jim Carrey's face. That's actually almost a direct mimic of the video game Sonic Hedgehog 2 game cover.
Oh, cool.
But so it was like people were losing their crap when that poster got released.
Oh, that's nice.
So.
See, they know how to make the fans happy.
And it's funny how close that movie came to being a major bomb because of the bad look of the visual.
Oh, yeah. People were upset. It did look jacked up. I remember that. And then they fixed him. So it's cool. He looks great now. He's super cute.
But, yes, it's awesome. You should check it out. Here you go, dear. I'll show you. See, look. So you can't really see it very well, but you can see it from here. And then that's a better one up there.
Oh, yeah.
They're almost identically.
That's cool.
So I know y'all can't see it. Y'all don't deserve to.
That's all right. Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog is awesome. It's fun. I actually am weird for me to say this out loud, but I'm looking forward to Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Can't wait.
I think it'll be fun.
Jim Carrey, you're the man.
He is. He makes me laugh.
I also want to give him props because he was doing press for this movie, and it's been making the rounds. You may have seen it where he said that he may retire from acting, and people are like, "Are you joking?" Because you never know with Jim Carrey. He says a lot of crazy things.
Could be the long game.
But he said, he goes, I think I might be done. I think I might have done what I want. And the reporter says, "Well, why would you retire?" And he goes, "I'm going to say something you've never heard a celebrity say." He goes, "Because I have enough. Yeah, because I am enough, and I've done enough. I'm happy." I
think really during these past few years that he's kind of been on this internal quest,
spirituality.
Yes, and just finding meaning in life and doing his paintings and expressing himself in a more very kind of normal whatever way instead of these over the top characters. I think maybe he's found some balance in his life.
Well, and if you listen to him,
he's so smart.
You can easily dismiss a lot of things he says as just a silly actor.
The rantings.
Or him being Jim Carrey, crazy Jim Carrey, because Jim Carrey always likes the woo. But if you listen to what he's actually saying sometimes, he's philosophically saying some very deep things about things sometimes. And you may not agree with him, but you can see that he's looking for his own inner happiness and his own peace in life. And there was a big controversial thing when he did Kick-Ass 2. His character is extremely violent. And then right around the time that movie came out, or was getting ready to come out, is when I believe the Columbine shooting happened. And he came out very against it. And he basically started attacking the movie he was in for its violence, as perpetuating violence in the real world. And he said, I can't be part of that anymore.
Yeah.
And even though he didn't do a ton of violent action horror flicks, you know, he stopped doing that kind of thing. And people then also said, well, you're in this movie and you're shooting missiles. And he goes, this is a cartoon. He goes, nobody gets hurt. Nobody's dying. He goes, you're shooting missiles at a blue hedgehog. That's clearly fun. And he goes, there's a difference in the mentality. He goes, nobody's watching Sonic and shooting up a theater. You know, whereas you watch another violent time movie. Not that I agree that makes it happen. The people are going to do something anyway, but at that catalyst. So I applaud the man for standing his ground and saying, this is what I'm going to do. But in seeing that evolution from Jim Carrey talks with his butt to this thing.
I have enough and I'm satisfied with my life. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because people don't say that, especially publicly.
Yeah.
You know, and he came out about the Will Smith thing, you know, feel what you want about Will Smith. I'm not talking about that. But him saying that, he goes, it's not okay to hit somebody because of words.
Yeah.
You know, and he goes, I would have sued Will Smith for $200 million the next day. But not going on a full tangent, but did you hear Chris Rock? I think it was yesterday. We were saying he still hasn't spoke about it. He's like, I'm not going to speak about it until I get paid. So I guess he's basically saying that unless somebody pays him for an interview, he's not going to bring it up. He's moving on.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. That's a big payday. Somebody
needs to be a big interview.
So anyway, Sonic 2 is awesome. It's fun. I love this movie. I've seen it twice, and it is a blast.
It is really fun. Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
I'm still baffled. I didn't know Tails was a boy.
I didn't realize that either.
I thought Tails was a female character, and I know a female does the voice, and not that matters, because I kind of have a high-pitched voice, I'm aware. But
babe, it's a fictional character, though.
It is a fictional character. But they mentioned it being a boy. I'm like, that was the biggest shock to the movie when they said the little
he.
I was like, wait, what? That's some crap. So I'm interested to see what this universe expansion happens, what other characters we're going to meet. I know of a couple of the characters that are existing. I know Jim Carrey said he really wants to play Fat Robotnik, which is how Robotnik looks in the game.
Yeah, I'm sure they can make that happen.
But we'll see. After the way this movie ends, I don't know what's going to happen. So it's interesting.
Okay.
Are you excited for more Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah, I love it. As long as Jim Carrey does my favorite thing again.
What would you think if they came back and Robotnik does not show up for the next movie? If they have to, because they set up, but they don't really need him technically for what they're doing for the next level.
I think he will, though. But I mean,
maybe not.
I guess it's okay.
I've got to assume, and any of our Sonic fans can tell us. I'm assuming there's other villains besides Robotnik. I don't know.
I'm sure there is.
I can go look it up. You don't have to tell me. It's fine.
Okay.
Anyway, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is available now in theaters only, but it is Paramount, so I wouldn't be surprised in a few weeks or a month or so it'll show up on Paramount Plus like Scream did.
I'm sure. Yeah, because that caught me by surprise.
Check it out.
I watched it right away. Sega.
There you go. And I guess that's it, isn't it?
That's it.
All right.
Tell me what's going on with you.
So this week, it's not a huge week, but there's a huge movie coming out. Last Looks that we talked about today is coming out on the Blu-ray and DVD. We have a Joaquin Phoenix movie called Come On, Come On. I've been seeing a lot of promotion. It's coming out. I don't know I think it's getting a limited Blu-ray release kind of thing. I don't know what that means. Chucky season 1 is coming out.
Oh, goodness.
If you didn't watch Chucky season 1, it's Child's Play.
You missed it.
The show was so good. The kids suck in that show. Like I don't like the kids, and one of them I don't like is even as an actor. It's just awful. But the show is actually really good, and it connects directly with the movie. So if you're a fan, you should watch it. And the biggest release is Spider-Man No Way Home is coming out on 4K Blu-ray and DVD this week.
Okay.
So you need to be able, if you haven't watched that yet, you need to hurry up and check it out before the new Doctor Strange movie comes out, because I'm pretty sure this movie is connected directly into that. No spoiler, just letting you know.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
Coming out at the theater. Okay. So, coming out on Tuesday
that movie again.
On Video Demand and Digital, Infinite Storm. It's Naomi Watts climbing a mountain, and she finds a man stranded on the mountain, and they try to escape, based on a true story. Also on Video Demand and Digital, it's a little animated feature called My Sweet Monster, and it's about a princess and a monster, and there you go. I don't know. I mean, that's what I had. Coming out on Wednesday, actually, nationwide is Father Stew, the new movie with Marky Mark And guess what? Mel Gibson shows up again. We will be talking about that one next week. It's based on a true story. It's very interesting. Then coming out Friday, kind of the bigger one of the week, may be Fantastic Beasts and the Secret of Dumbledore. This is the sequel to the Fantastic Beast
third one
movie.
Yes, it's the third one in the series.
Okay, the third one, because first was Fantastic
Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Yep.
And there's Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, or something like that.
With Johnny Depp.
Yeah, and this is The Secrets of Dumbledore with no Johnny Depp.
Because now we have Mads
Mikkelsen, or whatever name, taking over the role.
Playing the role of
Grindelwald,
who was several people in the other movies.
Yeah, which...
In a way, if they make it connect that way, maybe.
They could have... when you see it, then we'll talk. Because I've already seen it.
I'm watching the others right now to get prepared.
On my thoughts.
I'm going to show up in my costume with my cape and my wand at the ready, and we'll see how it goes this weekend.
I'm not sure I'll feel having to sit through it again, but we'll talk about it.
I can go by myself.
You can't do anything alone.
I know.
You're a sad little person.
Coming to Netflix, a movie called Choose or Die. It's like 80s survival horror game, and people who watch it are cursed and have to make the life and death decisions. I don't know. It might be interesting.
That one I want to see too.
Limited release Duel.
That's what I told you about. The lady has a clone, and then it's got Karen Gillan, and then she's dying of some kind of disease. Mm-hmm. So to keep her family from being torn up, she has a clone made. Mm-hmm. But then she's miraculously cured. So then she has to go to court about the clone, and they decide that her and the clone have to fight to the death. So they have a year to prepare, so they can only have one version of her exist.
That is awesome.
It might suck, but I'm looking forward to that, because that just sounds
interesting.
Crazy.
All right, that's really it.
All right.
So I guess Fantastic Beasts and
Father Stew. Two big ones.
You should see Father Stew, by the way.
Father Stew's coming out Wednesday, and it's also because it's Easter weekend, so it is a religious based, not like the Dove, because then it sucks.
Yeah, no, this is a real movie.
Religious based stories,
religious themes. It's really good.
Mark Wahlberg is very big in his Catholicism, so. And totally not related to anything other than just big movie news. Would you like some Fast and Furious news? So we're doing Fast and Furious 10, which we all knew that was happening.
I mean, what else is there to do? We went to space.
Well, this is some casting
Spoiler.
News. Some casting news. If you'd like me to tell you, or would you like to wait?
The Rock is back.
No, The Rock I don't believe is coming back. Rock said, good luck to everybody in that film. There's two big casting news that they've been talking about. One, Vin Diesel officially posted today that Brie Larson is joining the cast, Captain Marvel herself.
Wow, that sounds controversial, because I didn't think we liked her.
Well, I don't know why anybody doesn't. Why would you even?
The public don't like her for some reason.
Has a problem with it.
No,
but big villain news, which I don't know if it's officially been signed.
I hope it's not what's her name again.
Well, Charlize Theron is back.
I hope she has better hair than last time. Lord.
Well, at least it's not the chick from that football movie's hair.
But
I don't know if he's going to be the main villain, or if he's a villain alongside somebody else, or helping Charlize Theron, because we know her story's not over yet.
Correct.
Is one of your favorites, a young man named Jason Momoa, is joining the Fast and Furious franchise. So this is basically a franchise that you're not allowed to wear clean underwear in. Because you have Vin Diesel, you have The Rock, you have Jason Momoa, like everybody that makes you...
They just go find the biggest men out there that are as big as Vin Diesel and put it in there. That's basically what it is. You have to find big guys.
I got you. Wait, I talked trash, but I had Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano, and so
I mean, this is going to be awesome. Where are we going? We've been to space.
I don't know what.
That's what I said before the last one. I'm like, where else are we to go but to space? And then they did, and I was like, oh.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, this is supposedly the final film in the franchise. Mm-hmm. They're still doing a Hobbs and Shaw sequel, I believe, but.
That'll be fun.
I'm assuming Jason Statham will be back. Remember, he shows up in the after credits of the last one.
Yeah.
Because Han's back. So there's some
things
to deal with
going on. And if you did not see it, you got to go see it. You need to see every single one of these movies.
All 9 of them.
You need to get on your grill, make yourself some fajitas.
Now they haven't. I don't believe they started shooting it yet, so we don't have to
have some beverages. Have some popcorn. Have some candies. Because you're gonna need all that for all these 9-10 movies now. Lord. We got to watch 9 movies, babe.
Well, it's technically 10 if you count Hobbs and Shaw.
I'm going to watch all of them.
I know. My son's going to pee himself because he loves this franchise.
I know, I do too. How long has the movie's been going on?
I don't know. It was a throwaway car racing movie.
I know.
It was basically Point Break and race cars.
Very much.
And then the second one came out and it didn't do as great. So then they tried to reboot the franchise with Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
And nobody really cared.
Well, I did. 2001.
And I hated the first movie when it came out.
Really?
I was not a fan. I mean, I say hated.
I love Tokyo Drift.
I think I was annoyed. I loved Tokyo Drift when it came out. I think I was annoyed with the first two because everybody was talking about how awesome they are. And I'm like, they're so generic. I just wasn't connecting at the time with it as I drive my Camaro around with the neon lights on it. But
I don't connect with that.
I wasn't connecting with it at the time. I have appreciation for it now.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember when Tokyo Drift came out, they were talking about making more Fast and Furious movies and each one just being a generic story.
Yeah.
Well, then when Vin Diesel was trying to make Riddick,
mm-hmm.
he wanted to get the rights back for Riddick, right?
I like Riddick, by the way.
Reason
I know some people
they're
don't.
supposed to be making another one.
Oh, I love them.
He posted a picture of the script the other day.
That'd be awesome.
But supposedly the reason the way he got Riddick made was the last minute he agreed to do that cameo in Tokyo Drift.
Mm-hmm.
That was why he did that. He was done with the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I'll do this cameo, but you got to give me the rights to Riddick back. And so he worked a deal to get Riddick back. And then they decided to make another Fast and Furious movie and bring everybody back. Started, kind of rebooted it. It did okay, but then The Rock hit and it exploded. And now we're 300 movies
Part
in.
10. Yep.
So
someone says now they have to go to the center of the earth.
Oh,
let's do it.
That's why they need The Rock back, because he made Journey to the center of the earth.
All right, babe.
Anyway.
Tell us about our contests.
All right. The contest about the same. We don't have a lot of new stuff right now.
You need to get some new stuff.
Well, I've got some stuff on its way, but it hasn't shown up. So, and I've postponed some of the stuff that we're with the contests we have because they sent me some extra stuff. So I was kind of holding off because some of it was we weren't sure if we were going to still have or not. Didn't know if we had to return some stuff after a certain amount of time, but they approved it. So I left the contest up. So we've got 645. Oh, where are you at?
Keep going. Just keep talking.
Okay.
You're
anyway,
taking too long.
We got copies of 645, King Richard, the movie that involved a slap heard around the world, Invincible, Green Mile, The Long Night, and The Matrix Resurrections.
There you go. Long Night was okay. Now that I sit with it, I mean, it's not great, but it was all right.
It was all right. No, 645.
Oh, goodness, 645. Okay, well, that's it, I think, for today. We're actually keeping it to an hour. How did we do that?
We only had 4 movies.
That's why. Oh, well, we'll have more next time. Don't worry, because we have to talk about all the Harry Potters. Not really. We'll just talk about the Fantastic Beasts, but there's 3. We have to talk about the ever-changing Grindelwald situation, and we'll be talking about Father Stu for sure, and probably some other random things that come out. So there you go.
I really don't want to have to deal with Harry Potter past the 3rd one. They were all bad after that.
Wow, I like them all. Wow.
Especially that last 2 movies. There was just such a missed opportunity.
Oh, well. Don't worry about it. Just watch it. We'll talk about it next time. It'll be okay. I won't make you go watch it again. I can go watch it by myself.
We'll see.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching.
Clearly, I have some issues with the new movie.
This week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. We will talk about it next week.
Yes, right.
Everyone go watch it so we can all have a good conversation together. Check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. Go follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube's. There you go. That's everything. That's it for me.
Peace and love, children.
Peace be with you.
And also with me.